Oh,
Hmm. Okay.
Hello, everyone.
hi.
Hi there.
Sorry if you heard my background. I didn't realize I was unmuted.
Willina, just so you know, before we get started, I changed it to just like words, phrases, or a sentence. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
Just given the poetry
What?
prose thing, I figured we should mix it up a little bit.
Okay.
James,
The number one word.
I'm gonna mute you because we can hear your stuff in the background. So just unmute yourself when you're.
Sorry.
It's okay. Okay. I just didn't want you to anyway. Try not to make it awkward, just making it worse. How's everybody? Hi, Becky. Who else is here? Dana, Canyon, James, Kate. Oh, hey, Kate. How are you? Tanisha. Excited to see everybody. Okay, I'm just gonna does this look okay? I was gonna present in shoot, hold on a second. I was gonna present in presenter view just so we can also share links in the chat. So see how this looks. There are more people registered, so I assume more will come. Does this look good? Okay. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's just 7, so we will wait another minute or two for others to join us. All right. You guys think we should get started? Because it's 7:01.
Maybe a minute or two more.
Okay. Great. And I hope it's okay. We're recording tonight just because I know I've gotten a couple of emails from people saying that they, had a meeting that got called at school or something like that. So we'll be able to share this to people who had planned to come.
Maybe in the chat we could just greet and say where we're zooming from.
Yeah, great idea. I'll just give a shout out to the weather too, in case you want to. In Philadelphia, it was just a beautiful, beautiful day. I was in the office most of the day, but it was beautiful. So I don't know how it is where you are.
It's raining here too. I'm in Texas in Round Rock.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
No, it's been super hot here. It's been like 100 degrees. So we're loving it.
Oh, so it was good. Awesome.
It's sunny and beautiful in Seville, Ohio.
Cool. We've got someone here. Oh, I was wondering where Jacksonville, North Carolina. Okay. I was wondering where you were. And James is coming to us from St. Paul. Awesome. Wow, Las Vegas. I heard that it was really, really hot there this summer. A friend of mine was there. I think Diana's here on the phone too. Diana, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yay. Okay, great.
Hey,
So glad you're able to join us.
yeah.
Do you want to say where you're from since you can't actually type probably right now?
Oh, sure. I am from Omaha, Nebraska, but right now I am moving up towards South Dakota, so I'm somewhere in between right now.
Awesome. Well, thanks for connecting with us. Leandra's from Connecticut. Awesome. Kate's from Ohio. It's also lovely. All right, well, why don't we get started? You good? Good to get started, Willina? So welcome everyone to
Sounds
this.
good.
Yeah, great. To this information for the National Writing Project and the National Park Service event that's coming up called Write Out. We are really excited that you're interested in Write Out. I know some of you have done it before, and this is really a session to sort of talk and think together about what this could look like where you are in 2023. So we'll go through sort of the hows, whys, and whats, and then we'll talk about some of the ways that it's looked around the country, and then we'll have some time to do some brainstorming together. But as we get started, you know, we are the writing project, so we often start with an opportunity to write. So Willina is going to kick us off with a prompt.
Okay, writers. So again, thank you all for joining us. And at this time, we invite you to walk to the nearest window wherever you are sitting, or if you're able to step outside your doorstep and write words or phrases or a sentence to describe what you see. So try to take us in to where you are right now and write that in the chat. Or if you want to just write on a piece of paper and share out in the chat later or share verbally, you can do that too. But let's take a little bit of time, a few minutes there to write out right now. So feel free to turn your camera off if you need to go and you want to go step out, look out, and come back and say 5 minutes. That's good. We'll give about another minute. Okay, if you can find a stopping point, and you're welcome to join us back on screen. And welcome back, everyone. So I would love to just share some of the writing in the chat here. We have green leaves, dirt from the afternoon shower, squirrels scurrying across the yard. I love the alliteration there. Shower, squirrels, and scurrying. The empty street, no cars. That's Cynthia. Thank you, Cynthia. Dana wrote, I see my school parking lot, cloudy weather, and the sun shining through the clouds. There are very tall palm trees scattered around the surrounding neighborhoods. Nice. I see here some inner rhyme there, around and surround. Nice. And then Becky writes, I hope that's okay. I'm reading. If anyone wants to jump in and read their own, please do. But I'll continue unless you would love to jump in. Shades of greens and browns, an empty bird feeder, a half-dead heat-scorched plant, all on a wooden deck overlooking a military cemetery. Great. Thank you, Becky, for that imagery. And then we have Alyssa. The sky has begun to darken earlier. The clouds are blooming above, announcing our fourth day under 100 degrees and longer than I can remember. I missed the aroma of rain. Ooh, love that that imagery there, and just evoking the smell, the sense, the aroma of rain. I can actually connect to that. I love the smell of like wet cement and grass. Thanks for that. And James wrote, I see the coming of fall, a last chance to enjoy the outdoors unencumbered before the arrival of winter. I like the sound of that word, unencumbered. Nice. And Christina wrote, my house is in the small courtyard, houses right across the way, and trees live and breathe here too. I like that personification of the trees living and breathing. And Becky lets us know we can follow the National Writing Project on Instagram at National Writing Project. Kate wrote, the corn lays below my window and captures the last rays of sunlight. Love that. More personification. Then you have some alliteration there, corn and captures. I like. And then I wrote, gray skies, fading blue and white streaks above. Night is looming. Everything is still, silent, serene, waiting for the cover of darkness to fall. All right.
You can skip
and
down to Andrea. William.
go. All right. Andrea wrote tops of trees, lush green, as if a garden is blooming with a rich harvest of green vegetables, broccoli, tops of carrots, mammoth heads of lettuce. Takes me right to that scene.
Know how much?
You gotta do some
Yeah,
rearranging.
It looks inviting or sounds inviting. All right. Well, thank you everybody for writing out with us for our opener there. Beautiful writing, and thank you for sharing it with us all.
And I noticed a couple of people are joining us now, so I'll just put the prompt, our writing prompt in the chat. And if you wanna you find a moment to do this, go ahead and just add your writing to the chat. Thank you, Willina, for leading us through that. It was lovely.
Absolutely. I enjoyed that.
So I feel like that's a really nice example of what Write Out can do. And that's even, I don't know, did anybody here, raise your hand if you actually went outside or you were just even from your window. Okay, so a few people did go outside. But even from the window, there's something magical that can kind of emerge. So I do think it's a lovely example of what is so powerful about Write Out. But what is Write Out, and why and how? So let's talk about some of that stuff. I'm Christina Cantrell from the National Writing Project, and I've just had the great honor to work with so many different teachers, like Willina and others in this call who can introduce themselves, and park rangers at national parks around the country in sort of developing this celebration that we now run as an annual event. Happens every year now in October. And it's a free 2-week celebration of writing, making, and sharing that's inspired by public spaces and the great outdoors. So that's really, it's very simple in a way. And it's really meant to celebrate all the places that we come together as communities and as writers. As I said, the National Writing Project and the National Park Service are the ones who sort of, provide the funding, the program support for this work. But Write Out wouldn't happen without you. So Write Out happens all over the country in different ways for different people. And it's really that kind of collective energy that makes Write Out possible and makes it what it is. So you really are an essential element to this. And I'm really thrilled that you came tonight to talk with us about this opportunity. So just a little bit about why Write Out. Write Out's based on the idea that there's value in the outdoors to support learning, while also there's a real importance in place-based writing and place-based education. So there's lots of research, and I can put a link to our About page that has a little bit more about this. If I can find my chat window. Now I lost my chat window. There it is. But there's lots of research showing how connections with nature boost learning, boost personal development, support environmental stewardship, just fundamental support and well-being. So there's lots of documentation about the role that connections with nature make in those ways. And we know it's really important around place-based education. And our colleagues at the Nebraska Writing Project, who are real experts in place-based work, and I'll put a link to some more of their work around this, write that for young writers, connecting to their own place and their own community is how they gain an understanding of who they are, better knowledge of the local history, culture, and geography, and they actually learn to apply writing concepts, awareness of interdependence and interconnection in place and in writing. So the combination of the two really supports a lot of both sort of identity work as well as skill development, etc. So I probably don't have to convince anybody here, but I just wanted to say, like, there's actually research and that shows how this work can be really powerful for learning and for all of our learning, not just young people, but also for our young people today. So Write Out 2023 is themed poetry, prose, and parks. Every year we have a different theme. It's always around the same time of year. So this year it falls on October 8th to the 22nd. That includes Indigenous Peoples Day, which is October 9th, and it also includes National Day of Writing, which is always on October 20th. So it goes from a Sunday to a Sunday. And this year we are encouraging you and everybody and us to visit parks, local parks, regional parks, national parks, doesn't actually matter what kind of park, and play with a range of approaches to writing in and across different genres. Writing outside and across different genres. We, as a team, we have a leadership team for Write Out, and we're going to be putting together some sparks, and these are meant to inspire you and provide resources, and they'll get you started, but really you can do Write Out however it works for you. So a few of the prompts that we're thinking about this year is to encourage you to notice nature, and you can try a haiku, seek a sit spot, place to sit down and compose a 6-word story, or create a connection and create a found poem or a found story. So those are some starting places, but really how you do Write Out is up to you. And we will provide lots of resources for thinking across genres while you're writing outside. A really important piece is that you should get signed up for the newsletter. So I'm going to put in the chat. You're going to put in the chat a link to the website, which has a sign up for the newsletter. And if members of the team can just kind of keep sharing that as we go, because that's really how you get the newsletter that includes all the prompts and all the kind of sparks, the inspirational sparks, all in the lead up to Write Out and during Write Out. Okay, so if you haven't signed up already, please do. I'm talking a lot, so I want to get to the team, but I just want to say we're really talking about lots of different kinds of parks, right? And so there's ecological parks, there are historical parks, there are, in Philadelphia, we have pocket parks, little parks on the corner, you know. There are state parks, there are regional parks. So I'm sure there's other parks too, but just remember that there's all sorts of parks that you could go to, and Write Out does not discriminate what kind of parks you go to and how you spend that time. I have to say, actually, even if you don't have a park, we just kind of want you to go outside. So there's local trails and local woods. Some of our colleagues actually just take kids to the little patch of woods next to the school, you know, and that can be a place to do some writing. Schoolyards, great place to hang out and spread out, and, you know, grassy pathways. I think this grassy pathway, Willina, happens to be like right outside your school too, right?
Yes, those were my kiddos from last year. We couldn't go far, so we just went right outside. You can kind of see the building right behind them. So we were pretty close, but they were so engaged, and there was so much to see, notice, and write about, even in that small space that we were in. It was awesome.
Yeah, and then community gardens or school gardens. Another example of colleagues of ours in Arizona also had the kids go out into the school garden and they just wrote there. So it doesn't even have to be a park. So Write Out is quite open, but you know, we just want to encourage you really to get outside and do some writing and see what happens. I mentioned these sparks and these inspirations, and I just want to share a couple, whether we'll actually get a chance to watch both of these, but we have been working with both teachers and Park Service rangers to make to make videos and sparks to inspire your writing. So these are from coast to coast. One's Golden Gate National Park and one's Acadia National Park. So let me, I just realized I probably didn't share my sound, so I'm going to stop for a second. Does anybody, while I'm doing this, does anybody want to say something about the ranger videos or any of these videos before I just share one?
My high school students really love the ranger videos because a lot of them have never been to a national park. So to actually see a park ranger, it really blew their minds. And I know for us that have gone to national parks and maybe we grew up with national parks, it seems like something so minute. But for these kids who have never traveled perhaps outside of their town or area, it's a really big deal just to expose them to a ranger.
Awesome. Thank you, Becky. Okay, so here's the Golden Gate, and the rangers are so awesome. I have to share this with you. And put a thumbs up if you can hear
I'm
okay.
Ranger Alana.
And I'm Ranger Socorro.
We're standing here on a trail next to this rocky cliff overlooking the ocean. Welcome to Golden Gate National Recreation Area in San Francisco, California. This is the ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone and the Coast Miwok. In the park, you can explore redwood forests, learn about how volcanic rock shaped this place, and connect with human stories over thousands of years, from the first people to today. Whew, that's a lot of ground to cover. If only there was an easy way to see it all.
Hey, Ranger Alana, maybe we could zoom through this magic door here in the rock cliff to see the whole park. Let's bring some friends.
I'm going to open this black metal door. Whoa, it's a dark tunnel. Let's go check it out.
Whoa, from the edge of a cliff covered with lush plants, we can see a view of the Pacific Ocean. At the bottom of the cliff are the ruins of Sutra Baths. In the 1890s, this indoor swimming complex was open to the public and welcoming thousands of swimmers a day.
Wow, that must have been a huge place.
Here we see a black and white photo of the baths, complete with swimmers lining up to jump in. It is at Sutra Baths in 1897 where John Harris, a black man, with the help of his community, successfully sued for the right to swim at the baths after being denied the full privileges afforded to other paying customers. This is just one of the stories of the ongoing fight for equal rights in San Francisco.
What a fascinating story. Let's see where we end up next. We're surrounded by a forest of coast redwood trees, the tallest tree species in the world. We must be in Muir Woods.
Cool, it's two mule deer in the woods, a doe and a fawn.
Wow.
They're looking right at us.
Oh, I think we're heading somewhere else now. Large grassy lawns by the bay, historic red brick buildings. We must be in the Presidio of San Francisco.
Yes.
And look, the My Park Moments photo show is on display. Folks have submitted their photographs of themselves, family and friends enjoying parks around the world.
Ooh, okay.
Some are playing sports, watching a sunset, camping, exploring nature.
Oof, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
This has been so much fun. But y'all, we've got to get back and finish our video.
Oh, okay. see that? Oh my God, I can't believe and thing. And we're like, here we are again.
So cool.
Yeah, man, so cool.
We wrote down our stories. Now it's your turn. Create a story about someone, could be you, who passes through an imaginary portal in the park. Where would this magic door lead? To share your stories, you can use the hashtag #WriteOut, email us, or send us a letter. We're excited to see what you come up with. Bye!
Hey there, I'm Ranger Alana.
And I'm Ranger So.
All right. So what you think? Do we have time for the Acadia one too, or let's see? Okay. Feel free to people who are yay. Okay. You can chat too if you want to, if you're don't have your camera on. All right, here we go, Acadia.
Hey there, welcome to Maine. My name is Jay Elhard, and some of the writers and poets who have contributed to Maine's rich literary legacy have included Rachel Carson, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Stephen King, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Edna St. Vincent Millay, Henry David Thoreau, and E.B. White. Maine is also the home of Acadia National Park, the crown jewel of the North Atlantic coastline. There are more than 20 named mountains here that rise from an elevation of 0 at sea level to more than 1,500 feet on the summit of Cadillac Mountain. That's the highest point within 25 miles of the Atlantic shoreline, anywhere between Nova Scotia and Mexico. Within this narrow ribbon of dramatic elevation change, there's a dynamic concentration of habitat communities. More than 40 species of mammals and 300 bird species are documented here. Along the Atlantic Flyway, this is an important resting and feeding place for migrating bird, bat, and insect species. For the purposes of our writing prompt, it's important to note that with this much elevation change, Acadia is just the kind of place that can have a fire tower perched on a mountaintop within a few miles of a lighthouse built into the side of a cliff at sea level. So here's our prompt. Would you rather be a fire lookout or a lighthouse keeper? Is it easier to imagine yourself stationed in a tower high atop a remote mountain in Maine, surrounded by trees, lakes, and streams, waking to bird song, gazing out at views that stretched past the ends of the earth? Or is it easier to imagine yourself stationed at the very edge of a vast ocean, swept up in sunsets and epic storms, scrambling among jagged rocks and delicate tide pools, enjoying the company of passing ferries, yachts, and lobster boats? Next, what kind of story can you imagine for the lead role and location you chose? How will your character change in response to being here? Finally, imagine a conversation that a fire lookout and a lighthouse keeper might have one day if they happened to meet by chance somewhere in the middle. How would you have them describe their world to someone who had never been there? I hope you get a chance to experience Acadia for yourself one day. Thanks for listening.
Right. So those are two examples, of course, for parks, poetry, prose, and parks. Get my alliterations going. We imagine we're going to have some that are around poetry too. So stay tuned for more there. Any questions about those before I keep going? Anybody, any comments people want to make? All right.
I just would add that the kids love the prompts and it takes some of the planning work away from teachers. Like it's right there and it's inspiring. And once you do a couple of the videos, especially with the Rangers, the kids get excited for the next one and the next one, and then showing them the map and letting them pick which state do you want to visit today? It was an awesome way to like build excitement and really get them involved in wanting to do more writing.
Cool. Thank you. So I wanted to share a week at a glance infographic that's a little too big for a slide. So I'm putting it in the chat. And this infographic will give you sort of a sense of the flow of a week during Write Out. So take a look at that. And this flow is just meant to be an example of how Write Out could go. As we said, there's no right way to do Write Out. But this is just sort of how it's conceived. And really, we always say that, if you have 5 minutes, if you have 5 days, you can do Write Out. It's sort of whatever's right size for you in your context. This is our schedule for Write Out 2023. We have as I said, Write Out begins on the 8th and Indigenous Peoples Day on the 9th. So it'll start right then. And then we have some evening events that we organize as events for teachers and other adults who would like to get together and talk and think about Write Out and even share our writing. So on October 10th, we're going to have the Birmingham Civil Rights National Monument is coming with some special poetry guests. We're really excited about that. On this 12th, on Thursday, we have what we call a Park and Write, and we'll talk about that in a second, but you're welcome to come to the Park and Write and share your writing. And then on October 17th in the evening, we have poet and author Nikki Grimes, who's going to come and actually Welina will be one of the interviewers along with a Park Service ranger. And they will interview Nikki Grimes about her new children's book, A Walk in the Woods. We have another Park and Write that week. And then the celebration of National Day on Writing is on the 20th and will end on the 22nd. So that those events, again, you should sign up for the newsletter because the newsletter will have all the details about those events and how to get registered and connected. The Park and Write, this is a new idea. Does Becky or Welina, do you want to talk about that real fast, or Diana?
Sure. So this is where writers, teachers, adults will come and gather virtually in the space and spend some time writing. We hope that you'll do more of the stepping outside and do some writing in your spaces and places, and then we can share virtually, together what we're working on. I know for me as a writer, a lot of times you just don't have the time to write as much as you want. So this is a gathering together, and sometimes you just feel more inspired when you're with, in a room with other writers. So this will be the time to come together and really take some time to write, step outside and write out in our spaces and places, and then share out together.
Great. So, I have this in the chat too, in case it's helpful to you. I'll put this in the chat. So what we at Write Out, one of the sort of basic design is that you write out in your place and space, like Lily was saying, and then you share so that we have this very sort of local but connected experience with people all around the country. We often, when we're not at a Park and Write, we share via the hashtag Write Out on social media. And these days we are also sharing in the Teacher Studio. This is a space of the National Writing Project that I'm going to put a magic link into the chat now. This space is, we have a group for Write Out there, and it's a very safe space and comfortable space. It's a great place to share your student work too. If especially with younger writers, if you're not comfortable sharing work on social media, this is a great place to be able to share. And you'll find lots of colleagues who are doing the same thing you are, so you can ask questions and share ideas and all of that. So I encourage you to join the Teacher Studio. We also have a Facebook page, and I have a link to that. Becky moderates that, so I have a link that I'll share. It's at the end of the slides. Okay, so we wanted to, there's like 20 minutes, so we might do this quick. I think we should do this quickly and give everybody a chance. And I don't think we'll go into breakout rooms because there's not a big enough group of people. So I think we'll just spend a little time together, sort of thinking about what Write Out actually looks like in different places and spaces around the country, and then give you some time to think about what it might look like where you are. Okay, so let's bring this a little bit into focus. Willina, you're first again. Your slide is first. So do you want to? And you've got the first graders, so you should go first.
So yes, first of all, I just love the challenge of taking that frame of the time period of Write Out and then going for it as a writer and seeing how I could get my kids engaged in that. And so I did have the primary grades, first grade, and what I found is that they were able to get right down to the writing, stepping out, giving some simple instructions. Like today we're looking for something big, or we're looking for something small, or even introducing activism and what it means to be an activist and how can we be better caretakers of Earth. So there on this screen, I just shared some pictures of my students writing, and then give you what their deep thoughts were in their writing out time. So I will save the fish, I'll save the river. I see the school. I love school and I am learning. I see the trees. They are so tall. I see 5 trees. They have leaves too. And then on that last picture where the student wrote, I see the river moving and the trees. I see the high grass. During Hispanic Heritage, American Heritage Month, which starts tomorrow and runs till October 15th, I was able to search a video on parks in Puerto Rico and then just have some time exploring that, and that tied into our learning and celebrating of Hispanic heritage. And so the student wrote, I see the river moving in the trees, I see the high grass. So just so many ways to just write out, from just stepping outside in the school. Ultimately, on the National Day of Writing Day, we went to a local park just 8 minutes down the road because that's all we were allowed to go in terms of funding and busing. But going there, we were able to spend the morning writing out with parents, families, students. It was an amazing day.
Thank you. Rich couldn't be here tonight, but Rich is a colleague from Connecticut, and he talks about how writing, he's the one who actually takes his students out to a little patch of woods next to the school. And that he works with high school students who, and he really uses place-based pedagogy to support students' knowledge. He writes knowledge of the places in their lives, and that he finds that they also find common themes across different places in the country when they participate in Write Out. They start to see people around the country doing similar things and notice what's the same and what's different. And then some of the tools and resources he's gained by participating. And then he talks about the sanity that Write Out has given him professionally as a student, just being able to, as a teacher, being able to connect with other teachers and do this thing, connect outside, and helpful for his mental health. So, Becky.
Hey, I'm Becky Maldonado, and I have worked in some very challenging districts in Oklahoma, Maryland, and now North Carolina. So I actually do Write Out all year long or all semester long when I'm on block schedule. because a lot of the administration I've run into kind of frowns upon like 2 weeks on the same topic. They're worried about the test. And so we just work with it and we go, I integrate my curriculum with nature and help the kids to connect to real life. Like when I was living in Maryland, we were 25 miles away from the Harriet Tubman National Park and 20 miles away from the Assateague National Park. And because the students there don't really travel outside of Salisbury, Maryland, they had never been to both of them. And so like Harriet Tubman, they didn't even know who she was. And all throughout the Eastern Shore of Maryland, there's UGRR to designate where the Underground Railroad is. And they don't even know this. They've lived there their whole lives and they didn't even have the curiosity to ask what it is. So doing Write Out and connecting to nature and history really helped them learn about the place that they live. And then I also go into different levels of depth with them. The naturalism, like, oh, look at the beautiful clouds, they're so puffy. And then environmentalism, where we start talking about saving the turtles, and then climate activism, where we're talking about carbon and more on a global scale of what's happening to the earth and nature.
Thank you, Becky. Diana, are you able to share with us from where you are?
Sure. I'm Diana Weiss. I teach 5th grade in Omaha, Nebraska. And on my slide, I just glanced down at the slide. It doesn't have the other pictures. I might have added it to a different slideshow, but that works.
Oh, let me exit out and see if they're there.
That's okay. I can describe him. There is a really awesome gentleman that the kids call Mr. Ken. And Mr. Ken has made 2 man-made environments. One is a turtle pond with a 25-year-old turtle named Rocky. And the other one is this beautiful pollinator garden that has all native Nebraskan plants labeled just as, you know, he comes and takes care of it. He built it with his kid about 25 years ago when his kid was in 5th grade, and this gentleman just comes back. So we go out to those areas, and the pictures that I had were the students out there with their notebooks, and we go out several times. Once just to do a little John Sobel, where you are sketching the place so that you understand the place, and taking notes and doing more of a pictorial field journal. And then we go out again and we talk about the sensory of it. Spend a moment listening to just the sound, spend a moment looking at just the colors. What do you smell? What do you feel? And then they put that together, and then they just go out and do a free write, which they just love. And every time they go, they want to go back immediately after. And we go during different times of the day. As far as using the ranger videos during Write Out, we are studying in 5th grade at that time the regions of the United States. So we try to pinpoint ranger videos from each region, but as the others have said, they love listening to rangers, even if it's just watching the video and thinking or turning and telling the story instead of writing, because that's all we have time to do. Or some of them continue writing. Some of them have mailed them to the rangers at the park so they can enjoy those as well. And then we partner through the writing project with our parks here in Nebraska during Write Out time. And so at Homestead National Monument, we have what's called Prairie Visions Writing Festival, where 4 writing project TCs are partnered with rangers, and that we write in the park, except for during the pandemic time, we did this online. And then Niobrara Scenic Riverway, which I am heading up to right now, they do an open park write where there are signs at all of the outlets along the river inviting people to write for the weekend. And so the rangers report all the time about just seeing hundreds of people at different moments on the weekend just sitting and writing. And they do sometimes take them to the visitor center and share there. So we might have to figure out a more formal way for people to share their writing from that event. But it can be as simple as just sitting on the playground and writing about past, present, or future on the playground, whatever comes to mind. So it's a fun event. They like it. It's something different. And they, you know, like all of us, when we see a park ranger, our lives just pause for a moment because they have so much to share with us.
Thanks, Diana. And I'll search for those photos after this before I share the slides.
It's just a lot of butterfly bushes and zinnias and goldenrod, and you know, we can all picture it. It's all good.
Okay, great. And this is the beautiful Niobrara River that she mentioned, where Nebraska folks also organized a write on the river. So if you really want to push the writing outside, you can, you know, do something like this too. Yeah. Abigail from the Ohio Writing Project, she shared this picture of her kids outside, and really they're collecting words is something that they often did when they're outside. Bring a notebook, don't forget your pen, use your 5 senses, collect words. Oh yeah, James, there is a nice article about the Write the River Right. They won a regional award for that program too. So yes, congratulations to the Nebraska Writing Project group. And then, as Diana was mentioning, there are also writing projects that get together at their national parks. So Cuyahoga Valley National Park. Kate, do you want to say anything about the stuff, you know, what you do at the park for Write Out?
It's more like things that we do all through the years.
Yeah.
Specifically, like we have pop-ups like you see in the picture there, where we have notebooks and little prompts for people who want to write that day. We have in-services there. And I'd say Write Out this year, we're working on writing things, and our park specialists will put them in their community center or their center. So we're doing that, and it's just very exciting to see, like we have middle school teachers who can't get to Cuyahoga Valley, but she has her whole middle school team doing Write Out, science, math, everything, doing something connected to the outdoors. So it's just exciting, all the opportunities that writing outside brings.
Great, thank you, Kate. The picture at the bottom right is also the Gateway writing project connecting with Gateway Arch National Historic Park, and they did like a writing marathon at the Gateway Arch with the rangers there. And on the left is the Flint Hills Writing Project connecting with the Prairie Lands National Preserve. So a lot of national preserves and national monuments are also part of the national park system. So you can find rangers there, and you know, either go out as a group of, in this case, they went out as a group of teachers and wrote together and learned about the indigenous history of the place. So it was like a professional development that they did in this context. So let's open it up for conversations, and really, like, I see James has a question, so we should talk about this. Let's pick up on that question, and then we're kind of curious, like, how you think you might write out this October, and we're happy to help you think about it, brainstorm it, and, you know, answer any questions you might have. So James, how do math teachers participate? That's a good question. What are you thinking about already, if you don't mind me asking, and anybody else to chime in? Actually, I'm going to get something while we're talking. Here, I'll stop sharing because there's a video for this. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just I really appreciated the story from the last from the Cuyahoga Valley, and love the idea, because you know, writing and literacy really are gateway skills that are cross curricular, and you know, you're in all subjects, you're writing, you're reading, you're listening, and so I would love to hear more about how to encourage math teachers, or just how to encourage cross-curricular uh, participation, because I can tell you that math teachers that I work with would be like, I don't have time for that. And so I'm like, but it's so important and you can totally participate. Like, don't exclude yourself because this isn't like, it doesn't feel like an ELA. It feels like an ELA event. Like, I would really love to hear ideas for getting folks to step outside of what is business as usual in their classroom during this event. Thank you.
So I taught math for 2 years, and one of the ways that I used nature in there was my students, they were ninth grade algebra enhancement. So I was a secondary class for them, and they really struggled in literacy and like word problems. So we went outside and we created word problems from nature, is one of the ways that we incorporated math in there. And then of course, if you have them in physical science, they can find other ways to incorporate math through scientific formulas and stuff like that.
I would say also finding patterns and writing about patterns that they see. One of the TCs in our project is a math teacher, and she does a lot of incorporating math. And one of the most memorable ones she shared with our adult writing group was she led us through a Fibonacci poetry sequence, that you follow the Fibonacci, 1, 2, 3, 5, and it's 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, 5 words about the place that you're in. That would be a neat thing to try.
I love those ideas, and it does make me think it'd be wonderful to pull together more resources around this, or be able to share those kind of ideas. Yeah, I've worked with geography teachers who've gotten into fractals and stuff just by looking at nature and thinking about, the sort of the shapes beyond Euclidean geometry. I also am sharing in the I've shared a spark from Gateway National Monument, and Gateway, it's a bit more on the ELA side, but Gateway Arch, of course, has the story, like on their website, is the story of how that arc is created, which itself is a architectural and mathematical wonder, right? So it'd be interesting to think about sort of math prompts that can go through like that. And then last year we had a STEAM focus. So we did try to pull together more resources around all the sort of STEAM topics. And part of what we did is we pulled together notebooks by scientists and mathematicians and engineers, et cetera, and really think about what is the role of the science notebook and science writing, like how writing shows up in science. And we also had some really lovely discussions with science writers. Actually, it's here. You can find a couple of those. So also thinking about just how writing shows up in science and math, and in the professions of science and math. So it's only a couple minutes left. Thank you so much, James, for your questions. Other thoughts or ways you might be writing out this October? We hope you'll join us. Don't forget to sign up here. Go ahead, Kate.
I was just going to say that the whole place-based education and write out all combined have been such of great importance to our National Writing Project at Kent. I mean, we have a person, because you started this all, Christina, that is going to have a chapter in a book by Amanda and Rob Montgomery. We have that same person is part of the write out committee. She's also the lead on our grant. And And there's just been so many wonderful opportunities because of getting outside and people looking at education and play space. There's lots of teachers who have in the area who now have a whole new outlook. So thank you.
Great, thank you. We hear a lot too about the social emotional impact of this work. Like I said, that our colleagues at the Poconos Writing Project really took that on when after the pandemic, when they could see people, their kids and students and teachers struggling so much and just trying to re-socialize. So that idea of going out together, getting, you know, away from the screen, being together in nature in safe places and reconnecting was so important. And they've been able to really keep developing that. So that's another aspect of this that we see really blossoms and might be useful in thinking about how you can leverage this in your context. Becky's going for the math thing, James. So if you follow her, she's in the Facebook group. Everybody needs to go. We're at time. So what I want to do, I do have the Facebook link here. Sorry, I lost my slides. Let's see, here's how, so I want to make sure you have this information. Here is how the different ways to connect. And this includes a link to the Facebook group too. So we hope to see you in any of these spaces and places. I don't know, we really treasure connecting with other people doing this work together. Any good for the order comments anybody wants to make? Or I can hang out a little bit if anybody has some last questions or individual questions they want to ask. Thank you, Virginia, for coming. Thanks, James. Thank you, Andrea.
Okay. Well, I certainly don't want to bogart anybody else's time, but Christina, you foolishly offered to stay back if I had a
hang out. Yeah, everybody can. Anybody can go or stay, whatever they want to do.
Okay. Well, yeah, thank you for that. And I'm sorry that I wasn't like on camera. As you probably heard from when I didn't mute myself, I was in the process of trying to convince my 4-year-old to drink her milk and being
That's
about
what I
as
figured. That's what I
successful
thought. Like,
yeah.
maybe you won't mind if I mute it.
No, I will not, and I'm glad you did. Thank you for doing that. I actually, so I came not just because I am always trying to convince the teachers that I work with to engage with programs like this, especially anything that's attached to the National Park Service, because I'm a volunteer myself, and I feel like it's a big untapped resource. So I'm coming in from that angle, but I also have like kind of another surreptitious kind of reason for coming in, and it's because I'm actually in the middle of a writing project myself, a book project.